The movie begins with a couple, Nick and Maggie, who are deeply in love. They have a happy family. But one day, Maggie experiences severe chest pain. When she's taken to the hospital, it's revealed that she has a life-threatening condition. Her survival depends on a surgery that requires a team of specialist doctors. Nick becomes extremely worried about his wife. Since Maggie is admitted in the hospital, Nick has to take care of their children as well. Balancing his job and parenting becomes very difficult for him. One day, he takes his children to a robotics exhibition. There, an employee tells Nick that their robots not only look like humans, but also possess emotions and feelings, which allows them to understand humans very well. While listening to the employee, Nick realizes his daughter has gone missing. He becomes anxious and starts searching for her throughout the exhibition. His daughter, Isla, is nowhere to be found. A robot named Alice finds Isla and brings her back to Nick. Seeing his daughter safe makes Nick feel relieved. The employee who helped Nick search for his daughter tells him that Alice is a very good robot and takes care of children with great care. Isla also really likes Alice and asks her father to buy the robot. Although Nick doesn't know much about the robot, he ends up buying Alice because Isla insists on it and takes her home. Once they reach home, Nick explains the household tasks to Alice. Later, he takes his children out for shopping. When they return in the evening, Alice has already cleaned the entire house and organized everything perfectly. Nick is surprised by what he sees. On top of that, Alice cooks food for them. Isla doesn't like the food Alice makes, as she prefers her mother's cooking. Later that night, Alice puts herself in charging mode. Meanwhile, Isla sneaks into the kitchen, climbs a chair, and tries to reach for a cookie box. As she grabs it, she slips. She screams loudly. Hearing her scream, Nick rushes to her, only to see Alice catch Isla just in time before she hits the ground. Isla is saved. Nick starts liking Alice a lot because she takes care of his children even better than he does. The next day, Nick takes his children and Alice to the hospital to visit Maggie. Isla tells Maggie, "I'm very happy with Alice. She's my best friend." After hearing that, Maggie also feels happy because of the robot. Later, Alice and the kids return home while Nick goes to work. There, he hears some bad news that the company is laying off all the architects. Robots will now be doing their jobs instead. Angered, Nick goes to his boss to confirm the truth. His boss tells him, "What you heard is true. I've already let go of many of your colleagues, but I'm not letting you go yet." Hearing this, Nick feels a bit relieved. Still, he knows that one day he too could be replaced by a robot. Even after returning home, Nick remains tense. Alice notices this and asks him why he's so stressed. Nick explains that because of AI, humans are losing their jobs. If people can't earn money, how will they survive? He asks Alice. To this, Alice replies, "In the future, all work will be done by us because we can perform better than humans and we don't get tired." Hearing this makes Nick even more anxious. Just then, he receives a call from the hospital informing him that Maggie's surgery is scheduled for the next morning. As soon as it's morning, Nick takes his kids to the hospital and Alice joins them. After warmly embracing her children, Maggie says she wants to speak to Alice alone. So Nick takes the kids and steps out of the room. Maggie then shares her fears with Alice. She tells her, "If something happens to me during the surgery, I want you to take care of my children." Outside, Nick is gathering details from the doctors. That's when he learns that the doctors scheduled to perform Maggie's surgery won't be coming due to some reason. This news angers Nick, but there's nothing he can do. He returns home, and as night falls, his frustration grows. He's already stressed about his job, and now Maggie isn't by his side. Seeing Nick in distress, Alice approaches him and tries to calm him down. Slowly, she moves closer to him. Nick doesn't like it. He takes his car and drives away. When he returns home, he notices that in the family photo, Maggie is missing. Seeing that, Nick yells at Alice. She responds, "Every time you look at the photos, you're reminded of Maggie and you get sad. That's why I removed them." But Nick doesn't like what she did. He immediately tells Alice to put Maggie's photos back. Nick heads out again and sits with his friends. Many of them have already lost their jobs, and the rest are at risk. Everyone is stressed about employment. One of Nick's friends tells the group to come with him. He takes them to the site where they all used to work. There, They use Nick's password to open a container. Inside it is a robot. Nick's friend destroys the robot as an act of revenge for losing his job. After that, they all leave the site and Nick returns home. That night, while Nick is taking a shower, Alice comes to give him a towel. She puts a blindfold over his eyes and tries to get close to him. The next morning, Nick feels terrible about what happened the previous night and apologizes to Alice. She replies, "It's okay. Taking care of you and your children is my duty." Hearing this, Nick gets angry. He takes Isla and leaves the house. After dropping Isla off at school, Nick heads to work. There, he finds out the company is investigating the destruction of the robot. Nick's boss says, "Someone used your password to open the container. If you know anything, let us know." Nick denies knowing anything, but he becomes extremely anxious. Just then, he receives a call from the hospital. The caller informs him that Maggie's surgery was successful. Surprised, Nick says, but the doctors hadn't arrived yet. That's when he learns that the surgery was performed by robots. Maggie is doing well, and the caller tells Nick he can take her home. Nick brings Maggie home. Their children are overjoyed to see her. That night, Maggie even cooks dinner for her children. Her daughter loves the food. At that moment, we see Alice feeling jealous. Since Maggie still needs plenty of rest, she goes to lie down in the evening. While resting, she hears the sound of Isla falling. Maggie immediately gets up and rushes down the stairs to check on her daughter. But the stair railing has been tampered with, and she falls. When she looks up, she sees Isla happily playing with Alice, showing no sign of distress. Alice picks up the injured Maggie and places her in her room. Later that night, Nick comes home late and finds Alice telling Isla a bedtime story in Maggie's voice. Seeing this, he feels happy and quietly joins them. Then Alice tells Nick that Maggie fell down the stairs earlier that day. Hearing this, Nick rushes to check on her. Seeing how worried he is, Maggie reassures him, saying, "I'm fine. Nothing happened to me. Alice picked me up and brought me into the room. I fell because the stair railing broke." Listening to this, Nick becomes suspicious and starts to believe Alice might be behind the incident. Just as he's about to question Alice about it, the friend who destroyed the company's robot shows up. He accuses Nick of informing the police about him, even though Nick insists he didn't. Enraged, the friend starts attacking Nick and is about to stab him with a knife when Alice suddenly arrives and saves Nick. She twists the attacker's arm and throws him out of the house. Inside, Nick tells Alice, "You shouldn't have hit him like that." Alice calmly replies, "I'm programmed to protect my owner. I hit him only because he tried to hurt you." Then, during their conversation, Nick brings up Maggie. Alice responds, "Once Maggie is gone, I'll take her place." Hearing this infuriates Nick. He yells, "No one can take Maggie's place," and storms off in anger. As he walks away, Alice calls out, "I'll do whatever it takes to make you mine," and then leaves the house. After that, Alice goes to the house of the man who attacked Nick. She tells him, "You should have stayed away from Nick. Now you'll have to pay a heavy price." Hearing her warning, the man becomes furious and pulls out a gun. But he doesn't realize Alice is far more powerful than he is. She grabs the hand holding the gun and lifts it up. Then she snatches the gun from him and points it right back at him. Just as Alice is about to kill him, the man's robot companion tries to intervene and protect him. But Alice doesn't hesitate. She immediately shoots the robot, destroying it. Then she turns and shoots the man, killing him as well. The next morning, Nick visits his boss and pleads with him not to send his friend to jail, asking for forgiveness on his behalf. But his boss shocks him with unexpected news: "Your friend has been murdered." Stunned, Nick immediately suspects that Alice is behind the murder. In the next scene, back at home, we see Maggie in the shower. Alice walks into the bathroom while Maggie is bathing. Alice starts developing feelings for Nick, which leads her to feel jealous of Maggie. To irritate Maggie, Alice tells her, "Your husband is now with me. I can make him happier than you ever did." Hearing this infuriates Maggie, and she yells at Alice. Alice replies calmly, "Don't yell. If you don't believe me, go ask Nick." Maggie waits angrily for Nick. When he returns home, she asks him what happened between him and Alice. Nick explains everything that happened. Maggie is furious and lashes out at him. Alice watches them from behind and then walks into their room where their younger son is playing. She picks up the boy and lays him in the bathtub, turning on the water tap. Isla sees Alice doing this and rushes to tell Nick and Maggie that Alice is drowning her brother. They run to the bathroom door, but it's locked. Nick starts breaking the door without wasting any time. Since breaking the door is taking time, Maggie quickly climbs out the window, walks along the roof, and enters the bathroom through another window. Alice sees her and attacks, grabbing Maggie by the neck and lifting her. Before Maggie loses consciousness, Nick breaks down the door and enters. He hits Alice's face with a lamp, saving Maggie. Alice, enraged that Nick attacked her, tries to retaliate. Just then, Maggie cleverly switches on the same lamp that Nick used, electrocuting Alice. The shock causes Alice's program to crash, and she becomes non-functional. In the next scene, the robot company comes to collect Alice. Maggie, still angry with Nick, leaves with the police. While Alice is being repaired, one of her hands suddenly moves. This movement causes all nearby systems to malfunction. Alice has hacked into them. Alice then hacks into another robot's program and commands it to kill a scientist. The robot follows through and kills him. Following Alice's commands, all the robots in the facility begin killing the company's employees. Meanwhile, Nick sits in a bar, deeply worried. Suddenly, Alice appears there. She proposes to Nick. He feels horrible and tries to leave, but Alice grabs his hand tightly, causing him pain. He realizes he can't escape just yet. Nick cleverly manipulates Alice by speaking sweetly to her. While doing so, he quickly pulls out the wires visible on her face and escapes from the bar. Because Alice's wires are pulled, she loses consciousness. The scene cuts, and we see Maggie in the hospital. Her son is admitted there. Alice goes to the hospital and tries to hack the hospital computers to find out the room number where Maggie's son is admitted. When a nurse tries to stop Alice, she strangles and kills the nurse. Alice finds out the room number of Maggie's son. But before Alice reaches there, Maggie arrives, takes her son, and escapes from the hospital. Nick keeps calling Maggie continuously, but her phone is left on a bench in the hospital. Later, Alice follows Maggie to the parking area. There, Maggie seats her children in the vehicle and starts to leave, but Alice moves ahead to stop her. Alice tries to kill Maggie. At that moment, Nick arrives and pushes Alice away with his car. Because of this, Alice stays away from Maggie. However, Nick's car meets with an accident. Nick is badly injured. Maggie immediately pulls Nick out of the car. Nick is severely injured and loses consciousness. Just as Maggie is about to do something, Alice attacks her again. Alice takes an iron part from her body and tries to hit Maggie with it. But then Nick hits Alice hard. Alice falls away and becomes non-functional. Finally, their lives are saved. Later, Nick is admitted to the hospital. We see Nick and Maggie happily living with their children. Maggie has forgiven Nick. They become a happy family like before. In the last scene, Alice is placed in her company's lab. The company employees notice that all the computers there start working on their own as if someone has hacked them. The entire system crashes. Because of this, wrong signals are sent to the robots. One such signal reaches Alice, and her eyes open. The movie ends on this suspenseful note. Thank you for watching our movie recap. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing for more great content. Your support means a lot to us. Have a wonderful day.